How good is this Detroit Lions organization? They're going to play 6 1:00 games.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening, everybody? Matt Derry with you on a schedule release Wednesday. Thanks for joining us on a Wednesday, May 15th into Thursday, May 16th. It's Locked On Lions on the Locked On Podcast Network. Indeed, your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen, checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Shout out to our everydayers. Today I saw the legendary Christine Shea, my buddy Chris Shea from NTech, and she says, what is it called when someone watches all the time? And I said, an everydayer? She says, yes. My buddy Brett Cook from Turnkey. I hope I got your name right, Brett. He's an everydayer. Shout out to him. And also my man Ben Finzel. I met Ben today, Ben and his fiance. They watch Locked On Lions. So thanks to all of you for participating, watching, listening, wherever you get your podcasts. And please subscribe to our Locked On Lions YouTube channel as well. It is schedule release night. The schedule is out. We're going to go through the games. We're going to talk about everything. That video the Lions put out was abysmal. Oh, my God. The most unfunny thing I've ever seen. Lions have done some great things. Their video crew, all the behind-the-scenes stuff, the inside the den, it's all good. Tonight, 0 out of 10. And I'm a Sam Richardson fan. I loved him on Ted Lasso, but the other guy, Tim Robinson, Richardson, he's not funny. That was a bad one. Locked On Lions tonight brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app. If you're looking for tickets, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Follow us on Twitter at Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions, Matt Derry Facebook fan page as well. All right, the schedule is out. Here we go. I'm going to flash it up on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube for just a second. And then we will discuss. But basically, there it is. For those of you that can see it on the screen, if it's too small, I'm going to go through it anyway. But the Lions are going to open up the season against the Rams on Sunday Night Football. Not a surprise. We kind of called this. Tampa Bay is next at home, then at Arizona at 4:25. Seattle for Monday Night Football in week 4. Bye week in week 5. That's way too early for my liking. And you're going to be playing what? 13 games after the bye week? Ugh. At Dallas, at Minnesota, Tennessee at home, at Green Bay at 4:25. Houston Texans for Sunday Night Football November 10th. Jacksonville. By the way, the Seattle game is Monday night earlier. Jacksonville, 1:00 at the Colts before Thanksgiving. Bears for Thanksgiving. Packers Thursday after Thanksgiving. So 1 week from Thanksgiving, they'll play on Amazon Prime at home against Green Bay. So back-to-back nationally televised games. Buffalo, 4:25 at the Bears. At the Niners for Monday Night Football in week 17. And then the finale against the Vikings to be determined. As we say, but here we go. Look, the Lions schedule, we talked about this, and I brought this up a while ago. The Lions schedule is hard. It's difficult. Last year, you looked up and you said, okay, Carolina, Tampa. There were games you just knew, looking at the schedule, that there were going to be pieces of cake. The Lions weren't losing to Carolina. They weren't losing to the Saints. They weren't losing to Tampa and Tampa. I always liked the Lions in that game. We knew the Bears, they would get 1 out of 2 at least. Now, they're opening up the season at home on Sunday Night Football against Matthew Stafford and the Rams, which is not going to be an easy game. And then they got to play Tampa Bay the next week. So the Lions ended their home schedule with playoff games against the Rams and Bucks last year. They're going to start their schedule this year with games against the Rams and Bucks at home. So if you love going to the LA Ram game and the Tampa game, you're going to see those same 2 teams again. But Tampa was a playoff team last year and better than people thought. At Arizona in week 3 at 4:25 is never easy. It's never an easy game having to go out west and play. And I thought what Jonathan Gannon did last year with the Cardinals was pretty good. Seattle for Monday Night Football in week 4 is interesting because, as we know, it seems like every year Geno Smith and the Seahawks come in here and put up a 40-burger on the Lions. That'll be a Monday night game. Bye week in week 5, so they'll have 2 weeks to prepare for the rematch in Dallas, a 425er against the Cowboys on Fox, which you got to believe will be a Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady game. Week 7, game 6 at Minnesota at 1 o'clock is what it is. Tennessee, October 27th, 1 o'clock. By the way, go watch the Tennessee Titans schedule release video on Twitter. It's amazing, just like last year's was. So funny. At Green Bay in November at 425, November the 3rd. Might not be frigid cold, but we're into November for a 425 game on Fox. Then at the Texans, back-to-back games on the road against playoff teams that won a playoff game last year. At the Packers, 425er. So, second half will be under the lights. And then at the Texans for Sunday Night Football. 5. Lions have 5 primetime games. They're going to be playing at night 5 times. And who knows? If the Minnesota game is important in week 18, that would be a night game. You never know. Jacksonville back home, November 17th for 1 o'clock. Lions, by the way, I'm looking at this, only play 3 home games out of their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 home games, at least right now at 1 o'clock. At Indy, week before Thanksgiving, 1 o'clock. Bears for Thanksgiving on CBS. Lions, Bears at 12:30. Packers, Amazon Prime game the next week on Thursday. Then 10 days off before the Bills, a CBS game at 4:25 on Sunday, December 15th. Sunday, December 22nd at the Bears. I mentioned before, 1 o'clock, be a very, very frigid and cold day at Soldier Field, similar to last year when the Lions really did not play well. That was their worst game. At the Niners for Monday Night Football, December 30th, and then the Vikings after that. Lions have a stretch of 4 out of 5 on the road on this schedule against Dallas, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Houston. Ouch. 4 out of 5 on the road. And it's Dallas, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Houston. 3 of those 4 teams were in the playoffs last year. This is not an easy schedule. And I'm not going game by game. Look, here's the bottom line. Number 1, 5 primetime games is just awesome. Remember 3 years ago when Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes started up, and it was the Lions' first year with the new regime in 2021. Every single game was in the afternoon at 1 o'clock, except Thanksgiving, which is at 12:30. Every game was at 1 o'clock. Every game. Then the next year, of course, Lions finally got a night game, and it turned out to be the flexed game for week 18. And then, last year had a handful of night games, but this year 5 primetime games. Rams Sunday night, Seahawks Monday night. 2 of the first 3 are night games at Ford Field. 2 of the first 3 home games, and 2 of the first 3 games. Or actually 2 of the first 3 home games, excuse me. You're getting the Packers for Amazon Prime Thursday night under the lights. So if you're one of these people that, I want to go at 1 o'clock. Well, sorry, there's going to be some night games here because the Lions are really good. People want to see Dan Campbell and the Lions in prime time. That's pretty sweet. I mean, to go from playing every game at 1 o'clock to 3 years later playing 6 1 o'clock games, maybe 7 for week 18. We'll see. But this is not any kind of cakewalk at all. When you look at the opponents, you look at how this thing is kind of breaks down. Yes, they'll have back-to-back home games to start the year. So you're going to be at Ford Field. You got to figure, hey, this team has a chance to open the season 3-0. They have the chance to open the season 4-0. The tough part of the schedule comes later on. Playing Green Bay twice in 6 weeks, playing the Bears twice in 4 weeks. That stretch in October after the bye of at Dallas, at Minnesota, home to Tennessee, at Green Bay, and at Houston. The one game that I look at and I go, they're not losing that game, is the Tennessee game. Tennessee sucks. Right? Jacksonville's no great shakes in my mind either. but they got Trevor Lawrence, and they're not bad. Last year, I can tell you, check off. Where's my schedule from last year? You could check off so many games that you just knew were, were wins. I thought I had it here somewhere. I don't even have it. We're doing this on the fly tonight, folks. All right. Coming up next, we'll dive a little bit deeper into this. I'm going to get into I'll let you know about the preseason schedule as well. It's out. We know the dates. Book your vacations. What is my wife doing right now? She's booking our vacation for the weekend of October 6th, 5th and 6th. She's literally on the computer right now. So book your vacations for the bye week of October 4, 5, 6. For those of you scoring at home. We will get more in depth into the schedule. We'll do it coming up next. And Locked On Lions tonight. Special schedule release action is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL. And FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Like I said, you got NBA and NHL playoffs going on. Tigers, they can't score. If you want to bet the under in every Tiger game on FanDuel, you could do it. Probably win a lot of money. $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. I was talking to somebody the other day. They said they don't like any of the other platforms to gamble on. They love that FanDuel app. It's easy and hassle-free. FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook. All right, welcome back, Locked On Lions, for a Wednesday evening. It is a schedule release night right here on the Locked On Network. The Detroit Lions will be playing 5 primetime games, a bunch of 425 starts. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 late afternoon 425 starts. That includes the one in Arizona, which you knew was going to be 425 regardless. But the other ones, Dallas, Green Bay, at Green Bay, Buffalo, all, prime spots here for the Lions with the number one crew. So pretty impressive stuff. It's a testament to this organization and where they are at. I joked, I put it up on the screen on our YouTube channel, 17-0. I don't see that. I see this being more, Vegas has the Lions at 10.5 wins over under. It's going to be tough. I see this maybe being a 10-7, 11-6 type of team. I really want to go through the rosters of the opposition. I want to wait and see what June 1 cuts come and if any injuries happen. And look, Dan Campbell is on some sort of personal leave right now. I hope it's nothing serious. But I've texted a couple of people about it and gotten no responses. I just hope he's okay. I hope everything's all right. And he just missed the rookie mini camp and that's it. Knock on wood, because he's just so important and so vital to the success of this franchise. I look at it again, and these Monday night and Sunday night and Thursday night games. You start with the Rams. You knew this was coming. You knew this was going to be week 1. You knew Matthew Stafford coming back. You know he's going to get cheered this time. It's the opener. It's not going to be like last year with the playoffs and everything else. I think they'll do a video tribute. I think they'll make it cool. But the Rams have a good team. The Rams are good. And so that's not going to be easy right out of the chute here, especially at 8:20. Waiting all day to play that game. Tampa the next week, it's just kind of funny that it goes like that, Rams and Bucks. I mentioned before about Arizona. The Seattle thing, Geno's always seemed to have the Lions number. I don't, will he be the quarterback in week 4? Who knows in that instance. But, you look at some of these games, at Dallas in that 425 slot, at Green Bay in that 425 slot, at the Niners, second to last game of the year. And again, it's tough to prognosticate where teams will be late in the year. What if San Francisco is on an absolute roll and running away with that division and they start resting guys for the last 2 weeks? Or what if there are injuries and And it's not going to be the same Niners team. Might not be the same Lions team. You never know. But, the Monday nighter to kind of end, for the second last week. And really, it's the last Monday night game of the year because they don't do a Monday night game for week 18. But Niners in primetime on Monday night, not going to be easy. That stretch over Thanksgiving and then after that is interesting because you get the Bears for Thanksgiving Day, which I love. I love within the division. I had heard maybe Buffalo there, but that's not the case. But Bears, Packers, Bills, Thanksgiving Day, 12:30. Packers for Amazon Prime Thursday night. So you get there's no short weeks really for the Lions outside of Thanksgiving. They'll play so you get back to back. You get back to back Thursdays, and then the Bills at Ford Field late afternoon, 4:25er on CBS. That's gonna be a heck of a stretch, but all at home. That's an advantage. We talked about 4 out of 5 on the road with Dallas, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Houston sprinkled in the home game against Tennessee. But then the Lions kind of get a reprieve because they get 3 straight at home. Bears, Packers, Bills over Thanksgiving. Remember last year, one of the big reasons why the Lions, I thought, lost Thanksgiving Day to Green Bay was schedule around it and going on the road and then coming home, I thought was difficult for the Lions. I thought the schedule maker did not help them. In this instance, 4 out of 5 on the road, you go, oh my God. Dallas, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Houston. 3 of the 4 of those games are primetime, at least 4:25 or later. The night game, of course, with Houston. But then you get those 3 games at home. Bears in the freezing cold, December 22nd. Look, you could have gotten the Packers in the cold. I don't think November 3rd will be that cold at Lambeau, but Chicago for week 16. That'll be frigid, just like last year. And that was when the Lions really, really struggled in a big way. But schedule's not, you got to play the NFC West. You got to play the Rams. You got to play the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Niners. I don't see any gimmies there. I think they can start strong. I think they can, of course, beat Arizona, but that's never easy to do. And then, the AFC South is loaded. You look up and you go, oh, Indianapolis. No, Indianapolis is good. And getting Anthony Richardson back, they nearly made the playoffs last year with Gardner Minshew. Houston is good. That Texans game on Sunday night is going to be tough. Tennessee's bad, except for their video team. They're great. And what's the other one? And Buffalo, not going to be, that's not AFC South, but Jacksonville, at home. Jags last year were a disappointment, but still not a bad football team, and they still have Trevor Lawrence. So that's kind of my thoughts. I knew coming in when the Lions finished in first place, I look, next year's schedule is going to be a tough schedule. They're going to be playing, Buffalo. They're going to be playing San Francisco. They're going to be playing Dallas. Kind of some of these assigned games outside of the divisions that they're matched up with based upon how well the Lions played last year. The Lions won 12 football games last year. 12-5 team, you're going to get a tough schedule. But I think this club can handle it. With what they went through last year, and yes, the schedule kind of bounced their way, broke their way in the playoffs, getting a home date with the Rams, getting a Tampa because of the upsets and Dallas losing. Green Bay beating Dallas. The Lions didn't have to go to Dallas, but this is going to be difficult for sure. And that bye week in week 5, I hate that. You got to play 13 games after the bye with no break. That's tough. But again, Lions have been dealt bad hands before, right? Last year they persevered. Bring it on. Preseason schedule. We will get into that coming up next, right here on Locked On Lions. It is a Wednesday evening edition. Tomorrow, the host of the Locked On Detroit Sports postcasts, Jake Riepma, is going to join us. Young Jake does a good job on those shows. If you're not subscribing to Locked On Detroit Sports on YouTube, please do. So you can get Jake's postcast, I'm sure today. Get a very entertaining postcast after the Tigers loss to the Marlins. How do you lose 2 out of 3 to the Marlins? How do you get swept, or how do you get shut out back-to-back days by the Marlins? The Marlins are barely a major league team. All right, let's get into the preseason schedule next. And we told you about our friends at Gametime. NFL schedule release is here. Oh my goodness gracious. You're looking to get these tickets. You want Sunday night Lions-Rams tickets? What about the Monday nighter against Seattle? You're going to want to be there. Packers, Thursday night prime time. Come on now. You want to see Al Michaels across the way in Kirk Herbstreit. All these games are available to you on the Gametime app. Seriously, amazing. What do I love about Gametime? I love the views from your seat. If you go on the Gametime app and you click on view from your seat for any venue that you're looking at, whether it's a concert, whether it's a basketball game, a hockey game, whatever it is, views from your seat in all the venues is absolutely great. Lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, all of that is available for you at Gametime. Last minute deals, save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with our friends at Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Matt Derry back with you. It is schedule release night Wednesday evening right here on Locked On Lions, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Dan Campbell made a comment a few weeks ago that he knew that the Giants were going to be on the Lions preseason schedule again, just like the Giants were here last year. The Lions are going to go to New York to play the Giants for the first preseason game. That was announced tonight. The Lions are going to have joint practices again with the Giants. So right out of the chute, they'll have training camp. But then as they lead up to that first preseason game, they're going to be having joint practices in the swamps of New Jersey against the Giants. Week 2 of the preseason, which is as close to the real thing as possible. Lions at Chiefs for preseason game number 2. Interesting. And then to round out the preseason in what is just a waste of time, the Lions will host the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know what's cool about that? The last preseason game's a waste. It's going to be a home game, so y'all that have season tickets have to pay for it. But at least it's Pittsburgh. Anytime the black and gold come in, anytime you see those black helmets and those white uniforms with the yellow pants, there's something iconic about the Steelers. There just is. So Pittsburgh coming in, that's kind of cool. When was the last time the Steelers came into Ford Field for a game? Regular season or playoffs? It's been a long time. I was at the Super Bowl. Was that 2006 when the Steelers played the Seahawks? I'll never forget this. I was working at DFN. We got passes. And I remember walking into that stadium and hearing the, "Here we go, Steelers, here we go" chant, and all the terrible towels. And I'm like, oh my God, poor Matt Hasselbeck and the Seahawks. This is a damn road game for them. Pittsburgh invaded Ford Field, those terrible towels. So Giants and Chiefs on the road, weeks 1 and 2 of the preseason. Steelers for the finale of the preseason. Before the Lions, of course, open the year. 3 of their first 4 at home, but they open up Sunday night, primetime, NBC, Lions and Rams. That's just awesome. How cool is that? Come on. Back-to-back years, you get Stafford at Ford Field, and you're the only show. This is just like last year for the playoffs. Sunday night, obviously for playoffs, they're all on separately anyway, but you know what I mean. Pretty darn cool. So good luck, Kelly Stafford, when you make the trip in for that. So that's my thoughts on the schedule. I want to do more of a deep dive. This was just kind of an instant reaction show. I want to do more of a deep dive, which we'll do, the next couple of days here. Early bye week, I don't like. I love 3 straight games late in the year at home. Bears, Packers, Bills. That 4 out of 5 stretch is going to be difficult, certainly. But getting the Packers for a night game at Ford Field, I absolutely love. And I'm terrified of that Sunday night game at Houston. I don't know why. I just think I just think the Texans really loaded up in free agency. I think that's going to be a very, very, very tough game. And of course, San Francisco for Monday night in week 17 will be no cakewalk either. Thanks for making us your first listen, everybody, and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Again, please subscribe on YouTube. Jake Riepma, host of Locked On Detroit Sports on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. He does these postcasts after all the Tiger games. He'll be doing them during the season for Lions. And don't worry, my post-game shows, Locked On Lions, will be with you during the season for 6 days. I promise you, post-game shows after the games. But Jake will also have a kind of an instant reaction postcast right here on the network as well. Network's doing great, folks, and it's a lot of it is because of you, the listeners. Again, I told you I met this guy Ben today, who's awesome, and said he checks out the pod. Appreciate all of you. I really do. We're having a great run here with Locked On Lions, and we're going to continue doing it. So appreciate all of you. Shout out to my guy, Plymouth Jim Mulhern, by the way, as well as Nathan Litke. Those guys always sending me stuff for the show. Always appreciate that. We are back again tomorrow here on Locked On Lions.